Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Good to see you, Kevron. Well, like usual, we'll be with you guys in just a second. Gonna do a couple of teams' previews tonight for 2025. Boy, it's hot. It is hot. I'm burning up here. I gotta turn the air conditioner down or something in here. Holy hell. It's 95 degrees here right now. And probably about 90% humidity too. And it's going to be like that for the next 2 weeks. I just looked at the 10-day forecast. It's every day. Between 95 and 100. Spend all winter and spring saying, I can't wait for summer to get here. And then when it gets here, I'm like, oh, okay, I can only take like a week or two of it. And then I'm ready to get back to the fall again. But hey, what do we got? About 6 weeks? What are we looking at here? Where's Baylor Man at? Baylor Man has the countdown. Does anybody know how many exact days we have until the first college football game? There he is. Hey, there he is. Come on, man. 67 days. So, yeah, I mean, well, it's more like... more like 9 weeks or 8.5 weeks. All right, I'm ready to go. I'm just waiting on my co-host to get here. I think he's wrapping something up real quick. But anyway, happy Tuesday to everybody. Who we got in here so far? This might be the last ACC show ever before we all get annihilated in nuclear war. So enjoy it. Kevron Harris, Matt Dummett, Goose is here. Robert, Baylor Man. It'll be here before we know it, 9.5. Yeah, it's not really. Actually, out of all the off seasons since I've been on YouTube, this seems like the shortest one yet. The last offseason was maybe the longest, or felt like the longest. I know it was the same amount of time. I'm just saying how long it felt. I can't believe we're only 60-something days away. This year flew by, man. Nah, you don't want to make it go by faster. I want to slow it down a little bit. What was that movie with what's-his-face? Where he had a remote control and he kept fast-forwarding through the boring parts of his life, and before he knew it, he was like 80 years old. Adam Sandler movie. I think it was called Fast Forward, wasn't it? There he is. There he is. You all right?
No.
What's wrong? You sick?
Yes.
Oh. Well, that sucks.
Like
huh?
I feel like dick.
What's wrong with you?
I'm just sick. The usual symptoms: coughing, sneezing, stopped up nose, headaches, freaking my eyes burn.
You got one of those summer colds or something. That's even worse than the winter time.
I get sick about twice a year.
Yeah, once in the summer and once in the winter.
For about a week, yeah.
Yeah.
Like usually when the seasons, change or whatever.
Yeah, we were just talking about the weather. It's I'm sitting here in my YouTube studio is like right over the garage, so it's the hottest and the coldest room in the house. Yeah. So I have my thermostat set on like 69 or 70, and it's 75 degrees in here. I'm sweating right now. Oh, yeah. It's like 96 degrees outside. So
yeah.
Dr. Baylor Man says magnesium is the best thing for headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually just drink a bottle of whiskey and pass out. That works too, but you don't drink.
Headache right now. Actually, the headaches was like the first 2 days. I started feeling bad like Friday.
Oh.
So I should be nearing the end of it.
Yeah.
Here in the next day or two, thankfully.
Well, I was just telling everybody this might be the last ACC show ever because we're about to go to war. I mean, the world might not exist next Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would suck.
I think Trump is supposed to address the nation here soon. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if somebody knows if that comes on during this show. Can you tell me?
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Interesting is one word for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting is one word for it.
I mean, I'd be interested to keep up with it and maybe discuss a little. I don't know.
What's up, Daniel Barry? Anyway, shout out to C-Dog, the graphics guy. Or not C-Dog, but shout out to the graphics guy for the new ACC show graphic. We now have all of the teams, including the 3 teams that were added last season, in the graphic. Because, here, I'll show you the old one. I think I can show you the old one. Okay, this is the one we've been using for the past year. And a lot of people were complaining that there was no SMU, there was no Cal, and there was no Stanford.
I'm surprised anybody cared.
Well, I think we had one or two Stanford fans that came in one time to the show, and they were kind of like, where's Stanford at? And of course, that pissed them off that we didn't care that they weren't in there, so they never came back again. There's 2 Stanford fans on the internet. We ran them off. So anyway, we fixed it. We fixed it, and we got the new graphic for 2025. As you can see, here's Cal on the left there. Where's the SMU on the right? Who did I say? Yeah, SMU, Cal, and Stanford. SMU right there on the right. And then you didn't forget Stanford, did you? Holy hell! All right, no, all right, yeah, they're down in the bottom underneath Sea-Dog sunglasses. So there you go. So the way we figured this, we missed a lot of ACC shows during the off season. I had a lot I was dealing with, which that's pretty much almost over. It's not all the way over yet, but it's pretty much almost over. And I have 2 trips where I'll be out of town between now and the start of the season. So I probably should only miss 2 shows over the next 60-something days. So we figured if we do two previews a week for the next 6 weeks or 7 weeks, and then maybe 1 or 2 shows, we'll have to do 3 teams. We should be able to. We have this problem every year. We always come down to the end where we're like trying to cram it in at the end.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So that's why we're starting today. Today we're going to start with SMU and FSU, and we'll go from there. Yeah. I had something else I wanted to say too, and I forgot what it is now. I'm sure it'll come back to me. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure it'll come back to me. Oh, I know what it was. We have, for anybody who's been watching the ACC show for even more than one season, how long have we been doing the show, Sea-Dog? Since like 2020? Or 21? Wait, we figured this out last week.
21.
21. So this is year 4. No, because we did 21. So this is year 5, actually.
Was it 21?
I think so.
21 was the first year that I made videos on my channel.
Maybe it was 22 then.
I started at the end of the 2020 season, though.
I don't know if it was 21 or 22. So
in between the 2020 and 2021 season is when I met you at the Slob Olympics.
Yeah, so we've done at least 3, maybe 4 years of the ACC show, and every year we during these dog days of summer, June, July, and most of August, we do these team previews. And for anybody who's been listening, we have a pretty good track record of predicting before the season starts the record of these teams. Yeah. Now, we don't always get it right by game, and we don't always get every team's record right or within one game. But I'd say probably about 80% on target here. So that's pretty good. And what we do is we average. If let's say I have SMU going 10-2, and Sea-Dog has them going 8-4. We'll take the average of that, and we'll make our ACC preview 9-3. So that's how that would work. Yeah. So anyway, without further ado.
Also, usually we have a panel on here that helps.
Yeah, we usually have at least 3 or 4 people on. If anybody wants to come on with us, they're welcome to do that. I'm not going to have more than 1 or 2 people on. I'm not having 6 people on doing it because we'll be here for 4 hours.
If you're a fan of the team we're previewing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're a fan of a team we're previewing, or a fan of any ACC team, or maybe you're even like a Big Ten fan who happens to be playing one of these ACC teams they're on your schedule, or whatever. Look who's in here. Tiger Baskins is in here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while.
So we absolutely cannot be held responsible if we don't know what we're talking about. If you're a fan of the team and we come on here and slight your team, well, you have the opportunity to come on here and tell us what's up.
Well, that's funny because we haven't done any of the teams yet. So I'm sitting here today thinking, like, which team should we start with? We typically try to save Georgia Tech and Clemson for later in the season, right before the season starts. Yeah. So I was like, what team did we were we really bad on last year predicting? Both these teams we were really bad predicting. Now,
teams, everybody was bad at predicting.
I was going to say, to be fair, everybody was wrong about Florida State. I don't care, even if you're a Florida fan or a Georgia fan or whoever hates. What did I say? Georgia? No, a Florida fan, or who's their other big rival? I don't even. Does it Clemson? Miami? I guess, huh?
Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Even if you hate them, you didn't predict them to go 2-10. So we all got that wrong. We're just gonna have to suck that one up. But as far as me and Sea-Dog and the rest of the ACC panel last year, I think the team we were most wrong about outside of Florida State was SMU. Yeah. Because they obviously, they won the regular season in the ACC. Their only 2 losses were in the postseason to Clemson and then Penn State in the playoff. So they won all the regular season games, made it to the playoff. They only lost by 3 to Clemson in the ACC championship. So Yeah, I think we had them winning like 6 games and they won 11, something like that. So we were wrong about them. They have a lot returning this year. Let me pull this up real quick, and then I'll pull up their schedule and we can start going through it. But all right, and don't worry, buddy. We'll try to run through this. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you don't feel good. But look at this. So these are pretty good numbers here for SMU's team last year. Jennings, the quarterback, was one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. 3,200 yards through the air. 23 touchdowns and 23 interceptions through the air. That's not terrible, but it's not great. But now, I think he had a lot of rushing touchdowns too, so that's not included in this list here. And they also had a 1,300-yard back in Smith, which is pretty good. So they had a formidable team. And again, they took Clemson down to the wire in the ACC championship game. That they did end up getting blown out by Penn State in the playoffs, but Penn State was a very good team. So I'm not going to hold it against them. The first year in the ACC, they did very good. What am I doing here? All right, let's pull up their schedule here. We'll start running through this. Like I said, they ended last season in the playoffs against Penn State, lost 38-10 after their disappointing loss to Clemson in the ACC championship. This would be pretty easy here. So, East Texas A&M. I didn't even know that there was an East Texas A&M. I mean, I know who Texas A&M is, but I've never heard of East Texas A&M before. So that's new. So obviously we're going to both give SMU a win there, right?
Yeah. Are you going to put the schedule up on the screen?
Oh, yes. That would be a good idea to do. Sorry. Here.
That would help.
Next, Baylor.
Oh.
Baylor man want to come on with us? We need a tiebreaker. We need a tiebreaker in case that we...
Also, I have no idea how good or bad Baylor's going to be.
Yeah, this is a tough one here, and it's also an in-state game.
Right.
This is definitely a tough one. Geez. I'm gonna give the win to SMU. What do you think? It's in Dallas. That's the reason I'm giving it to them. They're the home team.
I tend to lean the same way.
Okay. If it's a toss-up, I'm always going to give it to the home team. There is a real home field advantage in college football. So, as far as I know, that's not a neutral site game. I don't know why it would be. What's up, Colby? And what is up, Sid Irish, Yoda, Edward O. Nuss, bus driver, and, of course, Millis Vanillas. SMU and Missouri State. They're getting their cupcakes out of the way early.
Yeah.
So that's 3-0 for the Mustangs. Now things are going to start getting a little more difficult here. Yeah. Another in-state out-of-conference game. Boy, they're like Florida. They play all of their out-of-conference games in the same state that they are in.
Get out of the way.
Geez. Well, they do play Missouri. That's weird. They play Missouri State at Missouri State, which is weird, but whatever. I don't know why they do that. SMU at TCU. I'm giving that to SMU as well.
Yeah, TCU's been pretty pitiful.
They've been down bad ever since they got their ass whipped by.
Yeah. We don't gotta freaking talk about it.
Okay. All right. So now we got them at 4-0. Now it really does start to get more difficult. Syracuse at SMU. Now, a lot of people are high on Syracuse this year. Now they did lose their star quarterback. Yeah. Which was a big part of that team. But they went out and got, who's the guy they got? I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But they went and got a quarterback out of the transfer portal. I can't remember where he's from.
Well, that sounds important. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna need to get refamiliarized with my.
Good evening, Baylor man.
Good evening, sirs. How y'all doing?
There you go. Angeli from Notre Dame. That's the guy they got?
Yeah, I got Angeli.
Yeah, all right. That's what I couldn't think of. There's so many transfer quarterbacks this season that it's hard to keep up with who went where.
I know. It's
Yeah.
the era of NIL now.
Yeah. And transfers, obviously.
And transfer portal.
And a lot of these transfers, they transfer in the same conference, like Castanella. We'll talk about Florida State in a minute, but, he went from Boston College to Florida State, which I always think it's weird when they stay in the same conference.
It's almost like a betrayal.
Well, it definitely is. It definitely, I mean, I don't know if it's a betrayal unless they go to your rival. Like if Cade Klubnik transferred to South Carolina or something, like that would be bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, unfortunately, we both faded Baylor.
Well, hey, I understand that.
I'm with Sea-Dog though. That's sort of an ignorant take on my part, which is par for the course for me. But I don't know enough about Baylor's team this year to make an education. I know more about SMU than I do about Baylor.
Right.
So
well, we do have a lot of our production coming back.
You do?
Especially, let's see, Sawyer Robertson. He's poised for another breakout season. He's good, solid dual threat quarterback. Then we've got as our RB1 Bryson Washington. That kid's tough.
okay.
And then the biggest question mark for me, of course, is defense and offensive line. If they can win those battles, I think Baylor's got a real shot at the conference.
That ought to be a good game then. SMU and Baylor. That might be a close game. I'm giving the edge to the Mustangs just because it is in Dallas, right? It's not a neutral site game.
No, it's at SMU.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm thinking about getting tickets to that game too.
What do you think about that game?
I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
SMU is a solid squad,
They're
but
tough, yeah.
if you're looking for a bet that game, bet the over. Whatever the number is, bet the over.
Hey, listen, you ain't got to tell me twice to bet the over.
It's gonna be a ton of points in that game.
You ain't got to tell me twice.
But I don't know. The first 2 weeks for Baylor's going to really spell the season. First game we host Auburn on Friday night. But how much if they do beat Auburn, are they going to overlook SMU? That's the thing that I'm.
Oh, that's a pretty rough start to the season. You got to play Auburn and SMU in the first 3 weeks.
Well, at least Auburn's at home.
Yeah.
But
Still,
I don't know. The Baylor schedule is very top heavy, so look.
So you just need to win. You need to win a couple of those tough games early, and then you think you'll be okay later in the season. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I think we'll be.
You're
fine.
front loaded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to the defense and if they can show up for that game, but. I think for now, I'm going to give SMU the small edge. I think they get us a field goal.
Oh,
break my heart.
I haven't even looked, and I'm not going to look tonight. But I bet the early line in Vegas is probably pretty close to that. Either way, it's probably 3 or 4 points. If I had to guess.
I haven't seen it. So I've seen the Auburn one. I've seen a lot of week 1 spreads.
Yeah, the week 1s are they're out right now. It might be hard to find one week 3, but
the only other one non-week 1 game that I have seen is Michigan Ohio State. That one's already out.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
What the hell?
Michigan money line until Ohio State beats them.
Until further notice, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to keep betting on Ohio State just because eventually they're going to win. But
I don't know, but let's see. Can you scroll up right quick? I was gonna see. I know East Texas A&M.
Yeah. See, we agreed on all of them, so your tie wouldn't. There's no ties to break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 3-0. TCU. That's a huge rivalry game. That's the Iron Skillet battle.
The Iron Skillet.
They battle for the Iron Skillet.
Well, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So they have a skillet as a trophy?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. I take that skillet and hit it right over whoever made that shit up, right over the head with it.
Those fan bases do not like each other.
Well, I bet, yeah.
That's a big rivalry.
Again, that's another
The
one
iron
that's
skillet.
over.
It's so stupid.
That's over that game. I think for now, oh man, I don't know. TCU at home, if they can limit turnovers, I think they've got a shot to upset SMU.
Well, we already both picked SMU. We're on to Syracuse now. So I'm picking SMU to beat Syracuse. Sea-Dog, what say you? There's two reasons I'm picking SMU here. I do think Syracuse is going to be okay, and they are one of those teams. The past, well, I was about to say the past couple of years, but even longer than that. I don't think they're contenders to win the ACC or anything, but they are definitely spoilers for contenders, and I consider SMU to be a contender based on last season and what they have coming back. So, SMU has their star quarterback returning. Syracuse doesn't.
Yeah.
So and the game's in Dallas. So I'm taking SMU.
Yeah, I would too. I just feel like, do they really come out of this first month unscathed? I don't know. I would agree to you though that I would lean Syracuse or SMU here. Right. Not Syracuse. I hate those bastards.
I know you don't like Fran Brown.
Good Fran Clown.
Fran Clown. Yeah, he's already talking shit again. Boy, that's all he does is talk shit.
So annoying.
Yeah. Well, Baylor, man, doesn't matter what you say, but who do you think? Who are you picking?
First off, I'd be interested to see if this spread is. But secondly, I'd probably say SMU. Very close, though. I think Syracuse can give them a run, but I think SMU pulls away.
So we got them starting at 6-0. I think the more likely start is 5-1. But hey, we said that last year. Last year they won all the regular season games, so not out of the realm of possibility. Stanford at SMU. Now let's talk about Stanford for a second. What a mess! What a mess! So Andrew Luck took over as general manager or something?
Yeah.
What's his official title there? He's like the general manager of football operations or some shit like that? I think they made up a position for him. I don't even think that exists at most schools. Whatever he is, he's in charge of the football program. Let's just put it that way.
General manager of the football program.
Yeah. Program. Yeah, exactly. So they fired their head coach amidst, violation allegations. He went out and hired, what's his face? What's his face? the guy that used to coach the Panthers, Frank Reich, the third, right? Is that what I'm thinking of? They went and hired Frank Reich, who used to be.
Frank Reich.
Yeah, Frank Reich. They went and hired him as an interim coach, I guess, for one season, and maybe it's an audition for him to stay there. I don't know, but he was the quarterbacks coach for Andrew Luck for the Colts for a while, so they have a relationship there. I guess the things are so bad there. They're down so bad at Stanford that they brought in Frank Reich III just to try to fix things.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that'll work or not, I guess we'll all find out together, but they are down bad. Give me SMU by 40 on that one. What you got? Yeah. Let's go to Baylor Man first. What you got, Baylor Man?
I mean, I agree with you. I think SMU's going to smash them. I mean, Stanford's down bad. I think all they're going to be thinking on October 11th is their midterms. So, yeah, give me the Pony Express.
Yeah, this is a hard choice.
Boy, oh boy. All right. So 7-0 SMU, good start to the season. Coming up next, they got this is their first actual tough real road game. I guess you could say TCU could be a tough road game because it's sort of a rivalry there with the skillet and all that. But let's face it, Clemson's better than TCU. So this is their first real road test. Again, this is a rematch from last season's ACC championship game where SMU was disappointed. That was a very good game. They came out on the bottom by 3 points. Clemson kicks a 60-yard field goal to win that game. But this is a different animal here based on, this is obviously the toughest game they're going to play on their regular season schedule. So SMU at Clemson. I'm going to go last on this one since I'm a Clemson guy. So go ahead, Sea-Dog.
I think Clemson's probably best team in the conference this coming up year. So I'm going to go with Clemson.
All right. Baylor man?
At Clemson too, yeah.
Well, SMU's off to a good start, but I think this week it's undefeated season's over for them. I think Clemson's the team to beat in the ACC. Could be even a playoff contender. I mean, they could go far. I mean, they've got a good squad. We'll see how much they miss Wes Goodwin this year. But
oh, come on, man.
But yeah, I like the Taters.
Yeah. I think you guys know where I stand with this one here. I'm not going to get into too much to Clemson as far as this game is concerned, but Clemson is, this is probably the best team they've had in 7 years, personnel-wise, and I think they made a great hire on defense. I'm not going to say that Tom Allen's the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of coordinators. I think he's a big upgrade over who we had, so I'll leave it at that. I'm picking Clemson. Obviously, it's in Death Valley, so I think it still could be a very competitive and good game, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So the first loss for SMU, so 7-1. SMU then travels for their second road game on the East Coast to Wake Forest. I don't know. What you think, Baylor, man?
I'm really not. Wake Forest has had a few spurts. I mean, they may have been good maybe 1 year or had a mid-season and then they're in the trash can, but I don't know. I'm just not really buying into Wake. They're not that good. I think SMU's just got way too much talent. I think they could blow them out.
I agree this will probably be a 2 or 3 touchdown game in the favor of the Mustangs. Do you want to be the tiebreaker here, Sea-Dog?
Wait, I don't think there's a tiebreaker.
Oh, yeah, there's no tiebreaker. But Sea-Dog, what do you think, buddy?
I'll pick SMU. Wake Forest is kind of, they've been struggling lately too.
Yes.
Is this their first or second year without Clausen? Is this their first year without him? Second year. Yeah. Weren't that good last year. I don't really expect much from them this year.
No, I'm with you. All right, moving on. This is another tough game for SMU, but this game is in Dallas. Most of SMU's tougher games are at home for them. They got to play Clemson on the road and TCU on the road, but they get Miami at home. This might be the hardest one to pick yet, because I don't even know what to think about Miami. They got Carson back out of the transfer portal. They did good with other players in the transfer portal. They're one of these teams that they lost a lot of their they lost Restrepo. They lost obviously their star quarterback Cam Ward. They lost another big time receiver. I can't remember his name. Anyway, they lost a lot of their star players, but they did well in replacing those type of players. So I really don't know what to think about Miami. This game's in Dallas. I'm gonna have to give it to SMU.
Ooh.
This is a coin flip for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a hard one.
It is hard. For games like this, I like to look and see what Miami is doing in the weeks before and after.
Yeah, once you get deep in the schedule like this, it's hard to predict because you don't know what the injuries are going to look like at this point of the season, and who got suspended for smoking weed or whatever.
So it looks like they play Stanford beforehand.
You do have kind of a cakewalk game before that with Wake Forest. So
does Miami.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, yeah, this will be a tough game. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go Miami.
Hey, so Baylor, man, you get to be the tiebreaker.
Well, joy. Look, I've seen a lot of people kind of all over the place with Miami's predictions. I think I saw one. It might have been Coach Coop, as a matter of fact. I think he predicts Miami to go 11-1.
Oh, of course he did.
But then others I've seen, like, I don't know, 10-2, 9-3, 8-4. But this is another one of those things, like, kind of like Ohio State and Michigan. Until Miami shows me something, I am not going to buy into the hype for Miami. That being said, it's in Dallas. SMU's going to be pumped for this game. Give me the Pony Express. I like the Stangs.
Dang. SMU with another win.
So if Slim, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
So that means right now we have them at 9-1 with their only loss coming to Clemson on the road.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think we're wrong. So then they got sort of a weird travel schedule here. They go to Wake, then they go back to Dallas, then they go back to Boston College. It's back and forth between Dallas and the East Coast. SMU at Boston College. Now, Boston College is another team. It's very hard to figure out preseason. They got a bunch of transfers. They lost their star quarterback in week. What week was that? Like 9 or 10? They benched Castellanos and he just quit the team.
Yeah,
I think 10.
Somewhere around. It was towards the end of the season. It was the last quarter of the season. So anyway, they benched him because he wasn't playing well, and he just said, "Well, if you're going to bench me, then I'm going to leave," and just sort of left him hanging. This will be Bill O'Brien's second season, right, with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think this could be SMU from like this is November the 8th. It's probably going to be like 10 degrees outside. SMU is definitely not used to that being in Dallas. And Boston College can play spoiler. There's got to be some sort of upset on their schedule. You know what? Give me the Eagles on this. There's got to be an upset to a lesser team than them. I obviously believe that SMU is a better team than Boston College. But I think this is sort of they got to play Miami, and then they got to travel to the Northeast in November. Give me the Eagles.
I'm going to agree. I think that I don't I'm not really buying 9-1 at this point. They play Louisville, Miami, and Clemson, three of the best teams in the conference.
Yeah, three of the four best teams in the conference. Yeah.
I think I'll agree with you here to kind of try to balance out the fact that we picked them to beat Miami.
We picked him to beat Miami. We also picked him to beat TCU, which could be a tough game for them.
Right.
And we also picked him to beat Baylor, which could be a tough game for them. Yeah. So, yeah, right. There's got to be an upset somewhere in there. So, all right. But so there is
2 or 3 losses is like having looked at the schedule. I'm thinking 2 or 3 losses is kind of where I'm feeling.
Yeah.
For SMU.
Okay. So we got that solidifies that as another loss. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. What do you think anyway, Baylor, man?
I've been waiting to say this all stream. Okay. Not so fast, my friends. If Boston College has a shot at this game, what they're wanting to do is make this game as ugly as possible. They want it to be low scoring. Keep the SMU offense off the field as much as they can. But I think SMU ekes out a close one. I think it'll be closer than the experts think.
The experts of the ACC show?
Yeah, I would say SMU by less than 10.
All right, so we got them at 9-2 going into week 12. Obviously, it was a bye week. Louisville at SMU. This is like C-Dog just said. Louisville is projected and probably will be at least one of the top 3 or 4 teams in all of the ACC this year. Some people even have them as high as 1 or 2. I've seen a lot of predictions with Clemson and Louisville playing in the championship game. Obviously that's just a guess, but Louisville I think will be good. This game is in Dallas again. Another one of their big games that they get at home. SMU's got a pretty favorable schedule as far as their home and away deal goes. This is another really tough one. Give me the Birds with teeth here. I think the Birds with teeth might be the second best team in the ACC. It's going to be either, well, I'm top three. So give me the Birds with teeth.
I think I agree too. I think Louisville. Obviously, this is like, one of their three biggest games. I'm
also a little bit worried about their quarterback, SMU's quarterback. He's a runner.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season, when you're that type of quarterback, you start getting banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you get down in a game, it's hard for them to pass their way back into it. So yeah. I think the tougher games later in the season are more difficult for SMU. No. Anyway, I interrupted you. So who you got?
No, I think I'll take Louisville too. They're good. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the conference, and I like the Louisville pick for that.
All right. So. What say you, Baylor man?
I'm actually on board with you guys. I think SMU's going to have a tough time stopping the running game for Louisville. I mean, you saw it last year, Pete. I mean, they gave you guys fits. And that one running back, what's his name for Louisville?
I just had that up. Here, I'll tell you what it is right now. Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, he had almost 1,400 yards on the ground. Yeah.
That meant Louisville's running back.
Oh, Louisville's running back.
Yeah, because I know he gave you guys fits last year.
Well, every running back gave us fits last year.
Oh, I know, but especially him.
The Citadel gave Clemson's the running back gave Clemson fits last year.
Well, I mean, aren't they a run-heavy team though?
Yeah, they're a triple option team, but still. But they still they ran for more on Clemson. They had more rushing yards against Clemson than they did against any FCS opponent they played last year. That's down bad and sad.
Yeah, I think that might have sealed old Wes Goodwin's fate.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I actually like the Birds with teeth as well. I just think Louisville's run game is going to give them fits, and SMU won't be able to keep up.
There you go. Yeah, Isaac Brown. Thank you. Yeah, he had 100.
Yes. Yeah.
He ran for 150 against Clemson. So. All right. So we got the Birds with teeth. So we got 9-3 going into the final game of the season. Hold on. How is that right? 9-3 would be 12. I think it's 8-3 is what we got them at, right? Ah, shit. Let's go back here. We got them losing to Louisville, Clemson, and
8-3.
And Boston College. 8-3. All right, so we got them at 8-3 right now, going into the final game against Cal on the road on the West Coast. So they go from well, at least they don't have to travel 1 week from the East Coast and then go back all the way to the West Coast. That's good. Dallas to Cal is not that bad. Anyway, I'm taking SMU here. I don't even know why I'm dragging that out. So there you go. I got SMU winning at Cal. I'm not a big believer in Cal.
Yeah, same here.
As a matter of fact, I say I'm not a big believer in Cal. I think they're going to be terrible. So there is that.
Yeah, Cal's too many protesters. Give me SMU big.
So there you go. It's official. Our first official prediction for the 2025 season. SMU 9-3, which I believe their Vegas over-under is 10 wins. So we're not far off. So we got the under, right? I think that's reasonable. I do see a situation where they could win 10 games. I don't think we're going to see a situation like last season where they win all of their regular season games. I think that was a great year for them. But 9-3, write it down. I hope they have a worse season than that, honestly. I hope they only win 8 games or 7, just so I can laugh at them because they're, come in our conference and try to take over. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they joined our conference because I wish we'd play a team like that every year. And watch the skillet battle every year. Come on.
It definitely would have made more sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But
let's keep this thing moving right along here. So we got 9-3 for SMU. We're going to move right on to Florida State. Holy hell, look at this. Oh my God. This is almost unbelievable. If you look at the statistics, the player statistics for the Florida State Seminoles in 2024, it's mind-bogglingly bad. Now, they had 3 different quarterbacks that they played. 3. DJ Uiagalelei, who was a traveling man. He went from Clemson to Oregon State, then to Florida State. He threw for 1,065 yards before he got benched. 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and was sacked 12 times for a loss of 82 yards. That's bad. That's real bad. Then they replaced him with Brock Glenn, who actually didn't play terrible off the bench, but still wasn't, he didn't really have any help. So I'm not going to blame him too much. But he threw for 597 yards, also 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So both of them threw for more interceptions than they did touchdowns. And this Cromenhoek guy, he also threw for 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So between the 3 of them, over 12 weeks, they threw for a grand total of 2,164 yards. Between 3 people.
Oh.
Damn. The only 2 teams they beat were Cal and Charleston Southern. That's it. They lost every other game, and they lost most of them bad, too. It wasn't like they lost a bunch of field goal games. They got blown out like almost every game. It was really bad. So there you go. Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up Florida State football schedule here. I'll find it.
I remember you used to have a bunch of Florida State fans in here. I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's at least a dozen of them in here whenever they went 12 or 13-0.
Yeah, I was still present when Baylor was 1-11. I still went to there were years that of course, I've had season tickets for about a decade now. But I've gone full seasons without witnessing in person a Baylor win. Like, I've seen them lose every single home game. 2017 comes to mind. I kind of feel for Florida State, man, in some regard.
I don't.
Well, just because I've been where they're at.
I know. I don't. I've told this story. Well, it's not even a story. It's just a fact. I grew up, obviously, a Clemson fan, and I knew a lot of Florida State fans around here. They were mostly bandwagoners that were from South Carolina, but pulled for Florida State because they liked Florida State during their heyday.
Bandwagon.
And so it was just a constant barrage of, Clemson's nobody, Florida State's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So anything bad that happens to Florida State, I'm here for it. I don't feel sorry for them at all. The years of abuse and torture I went through, I'm never going to forgive them for that.
So would you root for them over a team like South Carolina? Say they play each other.
Yeah. I would root for Florida State over South Carolina. Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't hate them. I mean, I hate them, but not as bad as South Carolina. No. There's nothing that takes that cake. As a matter of fact, they might even be like 3rd or 4th on the list. It goes South Carolina, Ohio State, then Florida State. That's probably the top 3 right there for me.
What about NC State?
Yeah, they might be tied with Florida State. I hated Florida State for longer than NC State, so I guess I gotta say I hate Florida State more. I just hate. Here's the thing, I hate Dave Doran. I don't like NC State, but when you add Dave Dorn to the mix, then it just puts it right over the top. But he's not going to be there forever.
No. Don't you guys play for a trophy or something? You and NC State? Like the, what do they call it? The Textile Bowl?
The Textile Bowl?
Yeah, Textile Bowl.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. I mean, we just care about winning the game. We don't care about the whatever, you know. The fry. This ain't like TCU and fucking the frying pan bowl or whatever the fuck it is.
Iron skillet.
Yeah. All right. Now, I'll go ahead and say this about Florida State. I do think they'll be better than last year. It's not hard to be better than 2 wins. Is it? No, it's not.
Really down that.
But they lost to their in-state rival Florida 31-11. That was the last game they played. Again, you know, they were in give-up mode by then. But again, this is what Florida State's going to be doing for the foreseeable future until they start recruiting at a high level again. Is they're in this perpetual cycle of having to build a team through the transfer portal, and that's not a cycle you want to get into. It can work some years, and some years it's going to be a disaster like last year, and so it's not consistently winning like the great teams in college football. So I don't really know what to think about Florida State, but here's what I do know: they're going to lose week 1 to Alabama. So I'm going to go ahead and say loss there. C-Dog, what do you think?
Yeah. Before we get anything else out of the way, I think even if they want to be a good team, I think they still lose to Alabama. So,
anybody who's like a real degenerate gambler, take like $50 and bet Florida State on the money line. And just assume you're going to lose it, because you probably are. But if you win it, it's probably going to be like plus 400.
I gotta piss. I'll be right back.
All right, so you'll probably win like $200 on that. I might even do that.
Yeah, for the next couple games.
I'm a degenerate gambler. I might do that.
I'd save it for another game. That's just me. I have a few money line picks in line, but that's not one of them. In fact, I'm actually might even bet the other way on a parlay. That spreads what, 12.5, I think.
Oh, if I'm doing a parlay, I'm definitely taking Alabama on the money line. Yeah, I'm just talking about betting it. Yeah, just.
I'd say Alabama's spread would increase the odds. I still think they're going to cover that.
If let's play fantasy land here.
Okay.
Now I'm picking Alabama to win big, so let's just get that out of the way. Let's just pretend that Florida State somehow upsets Alabama week 1. Would that be the biggest upset of week 1? I mean, I don't think there's one that I'm not sure. That would shake up the college football world. It would be funny in a lot of ways. First of all, the Florida State fans would come out of the woodwork like a bunch of cockroaches, acting like they're about to win the national championship because they won week 1 against Alabama, that would be funny. And it would also be funny to watch the Alabama fans squirm because they lost to a team that went 2-10 last year.
That would be down.
And a team that's also in the ACC, which you know how they feel about the ACC. Oh, a terrible conference, terrible team in a terrible conference. This should be. But having said all that, I'm hoping Florida State kind of does win this just for the laugh factor. But I think it's probably not going to be close. So
no, I think Bama wins by at least 20.
Yeah.
And I'll probably bet it too.
Well, they'll be favored by 3 touchdowns at least.
It's actually 12.5.
12.5?
Yes.
Oh, I'm definitely forget what I said. I'm betting Bama then.
Yeah.
What, under 2 touchdowns? For shit.
Yes. 12.5.
I could even hedge my bet. I could bet $100 on Bama minus 12.5, and make a separate bet for $25 on the money line for Florida State. I can't lose.
Yeah, that's according to DraftKings.
You can't lose. That's what you call hedging your bet, where you make 2 bets and you can't lose. Yeah.
Let me just make sure it's still that and it hasn't gone. Okay, yeah, it's still 12.5.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still 12.5. Yeah, I'd be jumping all over Bama.
All right, so I think we all agree on that. 0-1 for the Noles. That'll be a fun one though. East here we go with East Texas A&M again. Do they even have a mascot? What are they? What's the East Texas A&M? The fucking armadillos or something? I mean, what are they?
Speaking of armadillos, you haven't seen any more armadillos.
I haven't. I've seen some signs though.
Oh no!
I know. This is about the time of year I start seeing them, so I'll keep everybody updated about my armadillo situation. I did see that my next door neighbor has their armadillo trap out on the side of their house, so maybe they're having problems with them. I haven't seen one yet though.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm giving Florida State the win here, so I don't know anything about East Texas A&M. I'm just assuming they're terrible. So.
Yeah, the Lions, so we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, we're just picking the winner. Yeah.
Lions. No, Florida State. You know, it's funny because both teams on the that we picked tonight, as far as schedule, SMU and FSU, both play East Texas A&M. And they're going 0-2 against those two teams, so 1-1.
Is East Texas A&M also a fake military school like Texas A&M, or they just a regular school?
No, as far as I know, they're just a regular school.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, they used to be known as Texas A&M University Commerce because they're in Commerce, Texas.
Oh.
Which is like northeast.
They couldn't just come up with their own like name of university. They had to copy another one.
Of all universities to copy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine if they like a school started and they called themselves West Clemson? I'd be like, what is that?
Lake Clemson.
All right, so Sea-Dog, you got Florida State winning this one against East Texas A&M?
Nah.
No?
No, I think they lose.
All right, well, me and Baylor both picked Florida State, so. Kent State at Florida State. This is more interesting than East Texas A&M.
Is it though? They're the only FBS team to not win a football game last year.
Well, Florida State only won 2 more games than they did.
Well, that's also true.
But I'm picking Florida State here. Come on, let's stop. It's fun to pile on Florida State, but let's not get crazy. You know.
Yeah, I mean Kent State's terrible. I've watched them even play and like during action and stuff. I mean, they're abysmal. They're terrible. They have the worst defense in the country. Give me Florida State. Big. Pick your score.
Yeah. All right, so we got them at 2-1, which they've already won as much games as they won the entire season last year. Come on, we got to give them something for that, right? A trophy, a participation trophy or something? All they got to do is win one more game, and they will be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Now, after they play these 2 cupcakes, they got to travel to Charlottesville and play the Cavaliers. This is a tough one. This is a night game, too. Is this a Thursday night game or something? It's got to be.
Friday?
Oh, give me Virginia. You always take the home team on Fridays. That's the rule. I was on the verge of picking Florida State here and saying they were going to go start the season 3-1 and start getting on a roll here, but they got a Friday game on the road. Give me the home team. I'm taking Virginia.
Ouch.
What do you think, Sea-Dog?
This is a tough one. Virginia's been horrible, but they showed at least the smallest signs of life last year.
They did? I don't think Virginia's going to be terrible. I mean, you gotta understand, like, what are the expectations for Virginia to begin with? So when I say they're not going to be terrible, I don't mean, if Clemson wins only 8 games, that's terrible for Clemson. If Virginia wins 8 games, that's good. So they have different standards. But I still think, by Virginia's standards, I think they're going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, like looking for a bowl.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Allen managed to buy himself another year.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
So, what you got?
This is a tough one. I don't know. I don't think. Jeez. Oh, brother, this is really hard.
This is a hard one. Again, it's on Friday night.
Yeah, I know.
On the road.
Jeez. You know what? Give me Florida State.
Oh, hey-o. All right. Now we're talking. Look at this. So you picked. Now this is how. Hold on now. You picked Florida State to lose to East Texas A&M at home, but then you picked Florida State to go on the road and beat Virginia?
I was trolling about the East
Oh,
Texas.
okay. All right, just making sure. I need to make sure. What you got, Baylor, man?
You're the tiebreaker, Baylor, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pressure's on. Look, it's on a Friday night. I'm with Pete on this one. It's a Friday night. Not that Charlottesville's a tough place to play, but usually you go with the home teams.
Yeah.
In this spot. So I'm going to go with the Who's. Give me Virginia.
Yeah, road Friday night games, those are the toughest in the ACC every year. So,
well, unfortunately for Florida State, that means they're not going to be getting past their record from last year.
What? For the rest of the whole schedule?
For this game or next game, from what I can see.
Okay, well, all right, yeah. So let's move on. So right now we have them at 2-2. I agree with you. Miami at Florida State. This probably won't be. I hope it is close because I like to see this is a rivalry game, and I like to see. We all like to see close rivalry games as long as our team's not involved in it, right? So I hope it's close, but I don't think it will be. October the 4th. Give me the Canes. This game is in Tallahassee, though. Have they finished renovating that stadium yet?
I think so.
They've been dragging that. It's almost like, how when they try to put a second lane on a 2-lane road or a third lane on a 2-lane road, and it takes them 4 years to do it. That's what seems like what's happening at Doak Campbell Stadium. Is that they're like, 12-month project took like 3 years. Got people sitting on dirt. Anyway, give me Miami. C-Dog?
Yeah, Miami. Easy.
Damn. What you think, Baylor, man? You think Florida State has a chance to beat Miami?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. This is one of those games that no matter what the records are, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And this is one of those games. They've had some thrillers over the years. Some of the famous wide rights. I don't know. I'm actually going to, I don't know. I might be a little ballsy for this one, but I'm actually going to go with the upset.
I don't think that's crazy.
Seminoles.
I do think that Miami's better, but I don't think picking Florida State to upset them at home in a rivalry is crazy. I don't.
No, I do. I like the Noles in this game.
Wow.
Again, if there's any Miami fans listening, I don't know. Close your ears. Turn off your headset. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, we want them. They need to hear this.
I'm not buying into Miami. I'm sorry.
You're not buying into Miami. Okay, that's fair enough. But
I think Noles win a close one.
So Baylor man picked Florida State. Both C-Dog and I picked Miami. So we're going to have to mark it down as a loss for the Noles there. We got them at 2-3 to start the season out. Then they they got back-to-back home games here. Pittsburgh travels to Florida State. Ah, boy, Pittsburgh is one of these teams. They're like Boston College. They're like, well, no offense, Sea-Dog, but they're like Georgia Tech in a lot of ways. Just inconsistent from year to year. That's the measurement I'm using. So it's hard to figure out preseason. I think on a year-to-year basis, I'm probably more off on picking Pittsburgh's record preseason than I am on any other team in the entire league. And probably this year is going to be no different. I'm going to give the win to Florida State here. I'm not a big believer in Pittsburgh. I'm not. They were terrible last year. Will they be better than they were last year? Maybe a little bit. This game's in Tallahassee. I'm taking the Noles.
I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I know that they haven't been great, but they are. I mean, they do have a tendency to pop up every 2 or 3 years and get their head out of their ass and put together a pretty good year. Not saying that even this year will be that year, but I don't think you're gonna have to be like really, really good to beat Florida State anyway.
Well,
so, I think it's a close game, but I'm gonna go Pittsburgh on this one.
What you got, Baylor, man? Tiebreaker.
Yeah, I'm tiebreaker this time. Is Holstein still Pittsburgh's quarterback?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Oh, he's not.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've only really been looking into a lot of Clemson's schedule. Whoever they don't play Pittsburgh in the regular season this year, so I'm not sure about Pittsburgh's roster that much. Is anybody? Where's Talk's Pitt at?
I don't know. I think. Let me see. Yeah, apparently he is.
All right. Well, there you go. So you got.
I think Pittsburgh traveling a ways. I don't know. I'd stay away from this game as far as betting. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think Florida State, being the home team, will get the slight edge. Give me the Noles.
I'm not feeling
like a 17-14 type final.
I'm not feeling too confident about my pick here, but Pittsburgh is typically a very physical team, and last year Florida State was like maybe the least physical team in the whole league.
Maybe Norvell takes a different approach.
Anyway, me and Sea-Dog both picked Florida State. No, wait, you Sea-Dog, you picked Pittsburgh, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right.
I picked Florida State.
All right.
That's fine. I was kind of on the fence.
So we got 2 and 4.
It's at home. I can see.
Now, good news for Florida State is they got a couple of games here. I'm just going to skip forward here. Let's just do both these games at once. They got so after Pittsburgh, they travel to California to play Stanford, and then then they get a bye week, and then they go back home and play Wake Forest. So I'm taking Florida State to beat both Stanford. I think Stanford's a dumpster fire. We talked about that when we talked about SMU's schedule. They might be the Florida State of last year, where they only win 2 or 3 games. So Stanford down bad. That's a win for Florida State there, and I also think they beat Wake Forest at home. So I'm giving the next 2 games to Florida State.
I am too.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter what I say then.
Yeah. But what do you think?
I would take them to beat Stanford. I think they lose to either Florida State or Pittsburgh or Wake Forest at home. I don't think. I mean, they're not. I think they drop one of those games, but doesn't matter.
There you go. So that's a win for the Noles. Unfortunately for the Noles, the 2-game win streak ends the very next week when they travel to Death Valley to play the Tigers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Dropping my pen. You guys know where I'm going with this. So,
Yeah.
Anybody object to this or? Yeah.
No, I'm curious of what that line is. What's it? Probably like 20 something.
Well, it's probably not out yet because it's so late. It's November, but it's gonna be that. Yeah.
It's gonna be big.
It's gonna be big.
I think Clemson wins and covers whatever the number is, even if it's astronomical.
What if it's like 30?
I would pick another game to bet. But I really like Clemson in this spot. I don't think it's gonna be close.
All right, so we have them at 3-5 after 8 games here. After Death Valley, they roll back home and take on, I think this is the first time we've talked about them tonight, the Hokies. I'm going to start with Sea-Dog here.
God, they get all their toss-up games at home.
Yeah, I know.
I think they lose to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has been decently solid. They're getting better, I think, and yeah, I just think they're going to be better than Florida State at this point.
All right, I'm going to go against you here. I'm picking Florida State to win this at home. That would give them 4 wins with 2 games remaining. I guess the question is Florida State a borderline bowl team? Or are they better than that? You know what I mean?
I think they're borderline bowl team. I don't think they're better than that.
All right, so you got Virginia Tech. I've got Florida State. That puts the ball in Baylor man's court. Because Baylor is a basketball school, so putting the ball in your court is not unexpected.
No, it's not. But I'm. Oh boy, this is a toss up. This is one of those that.
This is a hard one.
It really is. I think it's going to be a close game either way. I think it's decided by less than a touchdown, but give me the fighting white Tontos.
Okay, I can accept it.
All right, look at that. Hey,
as the home team.
All right, so that would make for what 4 and 5. Wait, hold on. Where are we at here?
Sounds about right.
Well, that would be 9. There's only 2 games left, so I think that's hold on now. Why y'all trust me to write this down? We've got them 1, 2. Lost to Virginia, 2-1. Lost to Miami, 2-2.
I think we had them beating Stanford.
Yeah, that was their 3rd win. And Florida State, that's their 4th win. And now Virginia Tech, that's their 5th win. So we've got them at 5-5.
Ooh, buddy, pressure's on.
5-5 going into the last 2 games of the season. Let's just cover them both at the same time here. They got to travel to they got back-to-back road games against decent teams. And they're not easy ones to pick either.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna split this. I'm gonna have them win. I'm gonna have them winning one or the other, which it doesn't really matter which way. So just for argument's sake, I'm gonna pick them to lose to NC State and beat Florida. Because I think Florida's gonna be also bad, but they might be those 2 Florida teams might be the most unpredictable teams in the college football this year. Florida State and Florida, or maybe not the 2 most, but 2 of the most. So, yeah, I'm splitting that 1-1. Beat NC State, lose to Florida. Is that what I said?
In my opinion, I think that they lose out here. I don't think they beat either of those teams.
Okay, so you say so. Hold on, let me make sure we get the right thing here. I'm voting that they beat NC State. You're voting that they lose to NC State. I'm voting that they lose to Florida, and you're voting they lose to Florida. So the Florida's decided that they've lost that one. That's another loss. What do you think, Baylor man?
For the Florida State fans in here, close your ears. I have them 0-2 in the final 2 games.
Oh no!
I believe in. I think the fighting Dave Dorans will go in there and win that game, and then just Florida being in the swamp.
Well,
damn. I don't know. 5-7.
5-7 is what it is. Hey, I tried to throw you a bone. If Florida State fans don't get mad at me, I tried to throw you a bone there. I said you at least beat NC State.
I think this is about right.
What?
5-7.
5-7. I'm going to go. So the ACC panel has picked 5-7. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for no reason at all, and say 6-6. I mean, it's not much better, and it's not anything that's going to make Florida State fans excited for the season. But I think they'll make a bowl game.
It's a consolation prize.
Maybe.
Participation trophy, you know?
Well, I mean, it's a 4-game improvement from last year. And then if they win their bowl game, that's 7 wins. If I can have a party, man.
maybe sign Norvell to an extension.
Yeah. Oh, please. Please. Listen, I hope they sign Dave Doran to a 20-year extension at NC State. And I hope they sign Mike Norvell to a 20-year extension for winning 6 games at Florida State.
Oh, man.
That would make my year and my decade, too. So, there you have it. So the ACC panel, the first week of predictions, we got SMU 9-3 and Florida State 5-7. And again, you can disagree or agree. That doesn't even matter because if you had been agreeing with us for the past 3 or 4 years, you'd be on the up and up. We've done a pretty good job at predicting these schedules, with the exception of a few here and there. But I did try to go back last year and say, what are the 2 teams that we were the most wrong on? And these are the 2 teams they were, SMU and Florida State. So let's see if we can improve our prediction from last season to this season. I didn't see a whole lot of pushback in the chat from people disagreeing with us or agreeing with us. So I think most of them, I think that they think that we did a pretty good job of going through these schedules here.
Yeah.
It's hard to disagree with Florida State winning 5 games when they only won 2 last year. I mean, it's kind of like, because I think we had, what did we pick them last year, Sea-Dog? Do you remember? It was like, we had them winning like 9. I think we had them going 9-3, and then the Florida State fans got mad at us. They were like, oh, you're just jealous because we went 13-0 last year and beat Clemson and won the ACC. And I'm like, no, well, and then they only won 2 games.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it is awesome. All right. Well, Baylor, man, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be an honorary ACC man.
We got to. This actually works out better. We ought to think about doing this every week, Sea-Dog, where we just have one person on.
Yeah.
Like pick a person every week. Like I don't know who we're doing next week. Well, actually, there won't be a show next week. I won't be here. But the week after that, we'll get back on the horse, and we ought to just contact somebody from a team that's either on the schedule or whatever, and see if they want to come on and be the third wheel. We need a tiebreaker.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can see if there's commenters or whatever. Maybe if we get back to being regular, then the commenters will come back. I don't know.
Yeah. We've been too inconsistent. We were coming on every week. We'll be, especially during the season. But anyway, I guess that's gonna do it. Thank you, Baylor, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, of course. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Soon we will have football. 67 more days.
67 days.
Yes, sir.
By this time next week, it'll only be 60 days. Think about that.
Yeah. 2 months.
Nice round number.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you later, Baylor, man.
I'll see you.
All right.
All right, later.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try to get a third person on each week, and if we can't get one from a team that we're that's on the schedule or on the prediction thing, then we'll get somebody to fill in from the comment section. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
All right, Sea-Dog, I know you're sick and not feeling well, buddy. I'll let you go and, I don't know, take some Dimetap or NyQuil and pass out.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and being a trooper anyway.
No problem.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
All right, everyone, that's going to do it for me as well. Thank you for tuning in to the ACC show. Again, I will not be here next Tuesday. Oh, wait, hold on, wait. I take that back. I will be here next Tuesday. What am I talking about? I'll be here next Tuesday. I'm thinking of a different date. And I'll let Sea-Dog know that. I don't know if he's still listening or not. Yeah, I'll be here next Tuesday. I don't know why I said that. I have my dates mixed up. I will be here next Tuesday. There will be a show next week, so we'll preview 2 more teams next week. It might be the week after that I'm not here. Anyway, I'll let you guys know. But thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and please remember to hit the like and pray that we don't go to war. Thank you. Have a good night.